Om. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः तस्मै श्री Gurave Namaha. We are in Amrit Anubhav, chapter 2, the glory of the Guru, and we are in verse 75. And here we saw, if the flowers were to become a nose or to enjoy its own fragrance without creating a duality of smeller and the smelt, it is the glory of the flower. Similarly, the withdrawal of aham and idam, thought difference, is his glory indeed. Whose glory? The expression is also his glory and the withdrawal is also his glory. And whose nivritti? Who is transcendental to both pravritti, nivritti. So the true understanding of nivritti here is not just mere withdrawal, but going beyond the expression and the non-expression. And therefore this is the point we were looking at. And we were at in the same way, the Shuddha Chaitanya, the pure consciousness at the level of Chit or individual, is manifesting as the Idam and Aham Vritti. The two are mutually dependent. Idam is contained in the Aham, and Aham cannot manifest without Idam. Shankaracharya says that the Chitta, that is the mind, is not other than Chit, the consciousness. When the Takara, which is taking incomplete knowledge as complete, this is called ignorance, is removed, pure consciousness alone remains. The notion that I am the knower and the known is other than me is incomplete knowledge. So what is this incomplete knowledge? Considering yourself to be somebody, considering yourself to be the body, worse than that, considering yourself to be a husband, to be a wife, to be a brother, to be a sister, to be a mother, father. What are all these roles that you are taking? Even though they are roles, but they are, you identify yourself with them. On account of what? Because of the other. Because there is a man, therefore I am a wife. Because there is a child, therefore I am a mother. Because there is a sibling, so that's an object. That object is taken as, the word for object in Sanskrit is idam. Objects keep changing, but the one who knows the objects, the aham, it is always the same. Do you have the experience of changing all the time? Or you continue to be the same person, same life, same consciousness, in and through all the roles that you are playing? Whether you think as a father or a brother or a husband or a son, or as a body or as a mind, doesn't matter. You are still consciousness. This is your experience we are talking about. That we have never stopped being the consciousness. But what have we done? We have allowed this consciousness to be hijacked by the objects. When we allow the objects to hijack this consciousness, how do we do that? By giving value and importance. See? So we have to understand that this we are essentially pure consciousness, and the phenomena of aham and idam is going on. And because the phenomena of aham and idam is going on, because we keep saying I, we don't become I. I is a phenomena, as a thought, which is dependent on the objects. If there is no object, there is no I. That is your experience every night when you go to sleep. An object cannot express without the I. See? You don't, with regards to the I thought, you say that's me. But with regards to the object thought, you say I am not me, that is not me, or I am not that. How come? Both have come out of you only. Both have come out of the pure consciousness only. How come this partiality, that one thought I am and the other thought I am not? It's wrong conclusion, no? Either you discard both the thoughts or you include both of them. But we are hanging in the between. I am, other, idam I am not. See the problem we have created for ourselves. So if you want to discard, then you discard the idam. I am not the world, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not the breath. But then I am also not the I thought. Because I thought also appears in the mind only when there is an object to be perceived, or with reference to an object it comes up. Without any object, there is no I thought coming in your mind. You don't keep saying I am all the time, do you? When the object body comes, I am the body, I am the father, I am the son, I am the brother, I am rich, I am poor, I am healthy, I am unhealthy, I am something. But when there is no something, no idam, then there is no reason for the I to prop up as a thought. You see? Understand this about yourself. And that is what Jnaneshwar Maharaj is saying, that Nivrittinath is the Shuddha Chaitanya. And so are you. So is. And Shuddha Chaitanya, pure consciousness, is one without a second. It is not many. That there is pure consciousness in my wife, pure consciousness in my children, pure consciousness in the Guru, and I am the miserable one. Everyone is pure consciousness. I am not pure consciousness. That pure consciousness is one without a second. It is all that there is. And that I am, this should be our conclusion, without a thought. And that is your natural state. Don't forget that part. Whether you think or you don't think, that is your natural state of pure consciousness. When the thoughts appear, you get carried away by them. When too many thoughts appear, you, on account of identity with those thoughts, you become someone. And then the drama begins. So can we stop the drama? No. Drama will continue. Let it continue. Phenomena is the drama. Let the phenomena continue. You remain untangled from this phenomena. See? Phenomena is happening on the Shuddha Chaitanya. The Shuddha Chaitanya is in and through the phenomena. Without the pure consciousness, phenomena cannot express. Phenomena of aham and idam. But because of the expression of aham and idam, the pure consciousness doesn't become less or become more. Doesn't lose itself. Because there is an appearance of multitude of waves or Many multitude of waves are merging back into the waters. There is no loss and gain in the water. Water ever remains water. Recognize this about yourself, that you are that Shuddha Chaitanya. Nivrittinath is that Shuddha Chaitanya. Every Guru Maharaj is that Shuddha Chaitanya. Here we are talking about glory of the Guru, that Guru is the Atma Tattva is the Guru Tattva. And it is Shuddha Chaitanya. It is unattached. And in this way, and here it says, Shankaracharya says that the Chitta is not other than Chit. The Chitta, mind is not other than Chit, the consciousness. So what is the difference between the two? Chit, the consciousness, plus Ta is equal to Chitta. So what is that Takara? Takara is that Idam. Takara is that introduction of something. Whenever we have, the other few days ago, I was doing something and one splinter went into my palm. And before the splinter, everything was fine. When the splinter went in, there was a discomfort. Then slowly it became red. Then it became swollen. And I know what's going to happen next. It's going to get pus, and then I'll be in pain. So then I asked someone to take that splinter out. So normally the palm is absolutely fine. But with an introduction of foreign material, immediately it went out of balance and there was a swelling. Exactly the same way. Pure consciousness is always the same. Chit consciousness is always the same. The moment it accepts or some foreign particle, objectivity is introduced into it, it swells up. That swelling is called a wave, that swelling is called a thought, that swelling is called a emotion, that swelling is called a reaction. Because you have given it validity. You have allowed it to come and affect the consciousness. Because you are not alert. See? So recognize this. That mind is essentially consciousness. Then when is it called mind? When it has got some introduction of some splinter of objectivity. Then it swells up. What is that swelling up? Ego. The more the splinters, the bigger the ego. No, I am very careful when I move in the world. Memories, if you keep thinking about memories, that is also introduction of objectivity. So mind is not something to be destroyed like in Yoga Sutras. Chitta vritti nirodha iti yogaha. No. You can't destroy the mind. It's a phenomena. How can you destroy the mind? The moment you destroy the mind, it's like that balloon. You press it down or the spring. The moment you move away, it will bounce back up. The mind will come back with greater vengeance. अच्छा मेरे को दबाता है मैं दिखाता हूँ. Then what has to be done? You have to transcend. Recognize the thing as it is. You are recognizing the aham and idam as I and taking it to be real, and its true place is that it is a phenomena. Then who am I then? I am the pure consciousness, Shuddha Chaitanya, the Guru Tattva, the Atma Tattva. See? Don't continue to seek. Because what are you seeking? You are seeking the self. Are you stupid? Seeking yourself when you are already that which you are seeking. The wave is seeking the water. but it's already the water. The ornament is seeking the gold. It's already the gold. Somewhere this worm has gone into that we have to do sadhana, we are a seeker, we have to be spiritual, and we have become spiritually miserable now in the name of self-realization. It is our natural state. Stop becoming too serious about the world. Stop. And how will you do that? By stop being too serious that I am this body. How you are not serious about the body or the mind, etc. You are, wherever you are, however you are 100%. Living joyfully with inspiration, without any expectation. That is its expression. Look at, or in silence, whichever way the Lord decides. And pure consciousness is not against kama krodha. Mahatma also feels the desire to have food. He also gets angry, but he is not. Doesn't become the angry person. He doesn't become the hungry person. If it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come, it doesn't come. But we have taken it to be too seriously, and thus we suffer. The notion that I am the knower and the known is other than me. So this notion, where is this notion? In the mind level or the intellect level. That I am the knower and you are the known. I am the speaker and Amrit Anubhava is being spoken. The words are being spoken. This speaker and spoken, hearer and heard, experiencer and experienced, knower and known, all this is phenomena, nothing to give too much importance to. If you give importance to this, you have moved away from the Shuddha Chaitanya, the pure consciousness. Moving away from pure consciousness is and accepting yourself at thought level is called incomplete knowledge. Incomplete knowledge is you have become someone, you have become somebody. See? Now Sant Jnaneshwar questions the need for asserting the greatness of his Guru. Dithi mukha chiye barave, zari pathi kadu na fave, tay arya se dhandol ave, lagati kai. If the eyes could see the beauty of one's own face, of what avail is the mirror? If one could see one's face by one's own eyes, then who will use a mirror? Nobody will use it. In the same way, the Guru Maharaj, when he wants to have the joy of the teacher and the taught, has to create a spurious duality, just as one creates a second face with the help of a mirror. This Guru Shishya manifestation is thus an eternal Leela of joy. Without a mirror, can you trim your beard, trim your mustache, make your hair, do the makeup? फिर भूत बन के बाहर आओगे, सब डर जाएंगे. Then what do? You go in front of a mirror, you see your reflection, but you are not attached to the reflection. When you see the reflection, you work on your original face. Same way, the aham and idam are mere reflections. That's all. But we have taken them to be real. So, what does a Guru do? He creates this reflection and plays the Leela of Guru Shishya. Another word for Guru Shishya is Ahamidam. Another word for Guru Shishya is Shiva Shakti, Radha Krishna, Ram Sita, Ahamidam. Even though the reality, the pure consciousness, the one without a second principle, even though it is one, then how does it express as multitude? It expresses as multitude, as variety, only through the Maya Shakti, only through the potentiality that is inherent within it. Consciousness remains one. Consciousness doesn't become many. Then what has become many? The forms have become many. Consciousness is always the same. If you catch it, good. And in this way, the Guru Shishya manifestation is thus an eternal Leela of joy. Now, don't only look at Guru Maharaj, oh, it was good lecture. No, we are talking, you have to interact with this subjectively. As I said before, the Guru Shishya is the Ahamidam. The Guru knows who he is. Shishya is ignorant. In Aham Idam relationship, does the Aham that I am know who he really is? Or is he lost in the Idam? If you are lost in the objectivity, then you are lost the plot, incomplete knowledge. But if the Aham, the I, has come to know its own nature, that I am Shuddha Chaitanya, then let the Aham Idam continue, not a problem. That will be the position of the Guru Maharaj. That will be the position of Guru Maharaj. And he is playing the game. And the one who has not recognized the pure consciousness, his essential nature, which is undisturbed, which is continuous, which is without any breaks, it is homogeneous, then he can, only such a person can, only that person will be going through life as a Leela of his own pure consciousness. See? When we say Leela, Leela is not something other than pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is pervading the phenomena. Leela is the phenomena. It is pervading the phenomena. It is not pure consciousness is standing up there like the sun and is illuminating the Leela of what is going on the earth. It is not like that. There is no separation. This our mind cannot comprehend. Because how can it comprehend that which is beyond the mind? Aprapya manasasaha. See? So in spite of the mind, we have to recognize this. Be it rather than seek it. If you keep seeking, seeking will continue. It will never end. You have to be it. knowing, one knowing is at the mind level, at the thought level, and the other knowing is without any thoughts. Even if I am not thinking, I still know I am. Reach that disposition. We don't have to think to prove that we are existing. In spite of the thoughts, we are existing. Example, deep sleep. Example, samadhi. Example, coma. So there is enough data there that you continue to exist. To see one's own face, one has to do things like taking a mirror, placing it in front of the face, and to create a second face. Is the manifestation or duality out of non-dual pure conscious existence? An act of doing that is planned and is done with an effort? Are you bringing the mirror? Are you creating the reflection? Or it is happening? Are you creating the reflection? No. The difference between that example and our experience is that we are separate from the mirror. We are separate from the mirror. So we have to bring the mirror and stand in front of it, and then the reflection will be created. But in our own case, are we separate from the mirror of the mind? No. So we are the pure consciousness, we are the mind, we are the reflection, and we alone are becoming miserable on account of the aham and idam, on account of duality, which leads to multiplicity. Thinking in this manner, we come back to the Guru Tattva. That is our essential nature, pure consciousness. That is nivritti. That is true nivritti. Not that nivritti which is the opposite of pravritti. Pravritti means involvement, nivritti means withdrawal. So we are not talking about the withdrawal which is opposite of involvement. We are talking about the transcendental position which is beyond the phenomena of involvement and withdrawal. Where is involvement? Another way to look at it. Where is involvement? Once the aham idam comes about at a large scale of your life, of your day, for example, where is involvement? Pravritti. Pravritti or involvement is when you wake up, you get involved in the world. In the dream, you get involved in the world. When do you withdraw from the world? When you go to sleep. Is this nivritti, the Guru Maharaj, is it like withdrawal in the sleep? No. That withdrawal is under the spell of ignorance. This is conscious withdrawal. This is conscious withdrawal. And therefore, we are saying that this pure consciousness, this nivrittinath, is the transcendental principle which is beyond the phenomenal pravritti and nivritti. To remove this doubt of agency associated with the truth, Jnaneshwar Maharaj says, Kim rati hana geliya दिवसन हन पातलिया काय सूर्यपण सूर्या भावे लागे. When the night has gone and the day is broken, has the sun to do anything to be the sun? Because the phenomena of day and night is coming and going, is the sun making it happen? Is the sun saying, willing that now let the day happen? Now I am too tired of making the day happen. Now let the night happen. I got involved, so the day happened. I withdrew, so the night happened. Is the sun saying that? Is the sun doing that? If the answer is no, then that is our position. We are not making the pravritti and nivritti. We are not making the involvement and withdrawal at the phenomenal level. It is happening. It is happening. Why? There is no why to it. If you ask why, you will go in the wrong direction. And that is what the modern scientists are doing. Why? Why did the creation? From where did it come? They can't find out. You read Bhagavad, there are 88 types of creation given. You read Panchadashi in the chapter 4, I think. What is that? Discrimination on duality. So in that, 4, 5, 6 different types of creation are given. Creation is not talked about. We are not talking about phenomena to prove the existence of phenomena. We are not thinking to prove that thinking is real. We are not talking about the names and forms to prove that the names and forms are real. We are using the support of this phenomena, because that is where we find ourselves, in order to recognize that we are the permanent one, that we are the transcendental one, that we are the unaffected one, that we are the conscious one, on whom this phenomena is continuously taking place. But we get lost in the world, in the relations, in the positions, in the survival, in the fear, because we have taken the phenomena to be real. Or after hearing the lecture, we want to judge others, we want to correct others, we want to improve others. We lose the plot straight away. When the night is over and the day has dawned, will the sun think, now another day has come and I have to start giving light? Do you think this way? Did you think this morning, now I am going to wake up again? We normally do, normal people do. I don't want to go to school, I don't want to go to work, I think Corona should continue, I am at home, I can sleep as long as I want. I can get up whenever I want. I can work whenever I want. But do you get up thinking that I am going to now illuminate the world of waking? Every morning when you wake up, now I'm going to withdraw from the world of multiplicity. Now I'm going to expand into waking. I'm going to withdraw into nothingness called sleep. Do you say that? Or it is happening? And there are times when you don't want to, still it happens. On the contrary, it is because of the sun that there is manifestation of day and night. So without the sun, the phenomena of day and night will not be possible. Is the sun making the day and night happen? No. Sun is in its place. It doesn't have. It has got nothing to do. It is akarta. It is the non-doer. But in its presence, phenomena of day and night is going on. Day and night are dependent on the sun, but is the sun dependent on the phenomena of day and night? No. Is the sun taking the accolades that I gave birth to another day? No. Same is our relationship with should be with our mind. That we are that undisturbed akarta purush, the non-doer. Pure consciousness does not do anything. It is as it is. But can the mind function, express without? The non-doer principle, the pure consciousness, can it express? No. Then if mind cannot express, then can the aham and idam express without the pure consciousness? No. Can the roles that you are playing, husband, wife, brother, sister, can they express without the man or the woman? No. Is the man or woman affected by the roles? No. Recognize this about yourself. So who is affected? That imaginary fellow, husband, he is miserable on account of wife. Man is not miserable, and vice versa. Meaning, not man. Vice versa means woman is also not affected by the role of wife. Wife is affected because of the husband. You did not wash dishes, I did all the cooking. See? So let the phenomena go on. You remain disengaged with the phenomena, witnessing the phenomena. That is one way. Witnessing the phenomena. But when you are witnessing the phenomena, something can happen. That phenomena, if it is very, very strong, it can hijack your attention. So remain immersed in your own true nature. I didn't think about my palm throughout last whole year. But when that splinter went, it made me think about the palm. Then I saw, oh, how many lines have come, how many lines have gone. Because never saw the palm for so many years. But last week I saw it because the splinter had gone in. It hijacked my attention. Wherever there is some foreign material introduced, it hijacked it. Just like that, the blood is flowing all over the body, but when there is a foreign material, the blood goes in that, gets concentrated in that point to heal it. The same way, you interact with your mind. The mind, the attention goes to wherever there is a what do you call the foreign body is accepted. Foreign meaning the phenomena or the ahamidam is accepted as true. Then their attention will go automatically. But to be affected on account of that attention or not to be affected, remain equanimous, is our choice. And that will be, Mahatmas also get affected by hunger. Hunger comes, they do, I am hungry, khana lao. स्वामी जी कितनी बार खाना खाते हो? If that is introduced, immediately nivritti, then it doesn't matter किसी ने दिया या नहीं दिया. So if you look at it from this point of view, every thought in erupting, the phenomena that is happening, or every thought that is erupting in our mind is only there to help us recognize the pure consciousness that we are. Because without pure consciousness, that thought cannot appear. Without pure consciousness, the phenomena of life cannot happen. Without pure consciousness, the aham and idam cannot take place. Just like without the sun, the day and night cannot happen. Recognize this. Only recognition is. You don't have to do anything. Just let it sink in. In the same way, मणौनि बोध्य बोधोनि घेपे प्रमाणे साधुनि ऐसा नवे भरवसेनि गोसाविहा. Continues. He says, so too my Swami, my Guru, is not to be known objectively, nor can he be ascertained by any means of knowledge. यतो वाचो निवर्तन्ते अप्राप्य मनसा सह. The Guru Tattva, the Swami Tattva, the pure consciousness, he is beyond the words and beyond the comprehension of the mind. Again I am saying, we are not using the words because all these are words only. We are not using these words to give validity to the words by how nicely it is written. No. Words are a part of the phenomena. And through the words, we are taking that high jump. Even while listening to the words. To be that transcendental principle. So too my Swami, my Guru, is not to be known objectively. So, as much as you may seek, seeker is always looking at objectively. If you are subjective in the first interaction itself, everything would be over, then there will be no seeker and there will be nothing to be sought. The fact that the person is calling himself or herself a seeker is because they have something to seek. So they have kept the subject as an object of contemplation. They have kept Paramatma, the Guru Tattva, the Atma Tattva as an object to be apprehended, an object to be understood, an object to be experienced, an object to be known. That will never happen. So continue seeking life after life after life. Nothing is going to change if the seeking continues in the objective manner. The sun does not require the reference of the day or night for its existence. See? The sun does not require the existence of day or night for its existence. Then does the consciousness that I am, does it require the existence of idam and aham and idam? Because a thought can be formed only when there is aham and idam. Subject, object, and the instrument of knowledge. Then a thought is formed in our mind. And with every thought, these three come together. So do we need the phenomena of aham and idam to know the pure consciousness? Or is it the other way round? That we are the pure consciousness and we know the thought of aham and idam are coming and going in the mind? What is your position? What is your position? Our position is as confused as anything. We think the mind is inside the body. We think the self is inside the mind, even subtler than the mind. But the truth is, mind is in the body, is in the mind. The truth is, the pure consciousness that I am is pervading the mind. The whole, we think we are in this universe, but the truth is, universe is in the mind. We say this is my room space, but we don't realize that we are in the space. Not that we have trapped the space and called it my room space. See? This is inverted thinking, and that's why we are miserable. That's why we are seeking. That's why we are confused. That's why we can't make two ends meet. That's why we can't love, we can't understand. All this is because we have cut it down so much. Wrong angle of interaction. So here he says, the sun does not require the reference of the day or night for his existence, and the face does not require the reference of the mirror to prove its own existence. True or not? Whether there is a mirror or not, I still know I have a face. Whether I have ever never seen my eyes, I still know I have the eyes. I have never seen my mind, I know there is a mind. I have never seen consciousness, but I know I am conscious. See? Both are self-existence and self-assertive. The sun is self-existent, and so also the face is also self-existence and self-assertive. That it is because of them that the phenomena happens. It will not if the mirror is there and you stand in front of it, it can never happen that there will be no reflection. So also the Sadguru Natha, the Satchidanand, the absolute I is not something to be known as an object of knowledge. The verb to know has different connotations in the statements, I know this object, I know myself. I have already talked about this in detail. So the absolute I, not the thought I, because we are illuminating the thought I. The I thought is coming in the mind. You are knowing that this thought has come. I know you. The thought came, I know you. 3 words. You know or you don't know that these 3 came? I know. Again I say I know. Were you aware that this thought came? Yes. So you are someone other than these 3, because these 3 alphabets, I know you, they are coming and going. I know laptop, I know the phone, I know the book, I know the day, I know the sun. Even though I is is the same, but the I thought is appearing every time with different object with which it interacts. Only then a thought is created or experience is created. For whom? For the mind. Let the mind go through that. You are observing it, you are the witness, you are undisturbed. The Guru Maharaj cannot be known objectively as object of knowledge. Objectification is the food for the mind. Objectification is food for the mind. What is mind? Aham idam play. Mind is aham idam play. For the mind to be active, what does mind need to do? What does it need to do? It needs to multiply. Can it multiply the I? No. I is the same. Then what will it multiply? It will multiply the objects. The idams will get multiplied. When objectification dies, the mind dies. The Guru Tattva is to be known. This objectification must end. Knowledge of the truth cannot be obtained in parts through the senses, mind, intellect, equipment, but in its totality. So either you withdraw from the objectivity or you include or you see that you are the material cause of the entire objectivity. The self is the material that has gone into the entire objectivity. The self is the creator of the, I shouldn't say creator, just the material that has gone into the entire objectivity. How will you do that? Mind is nothing but consciousness. Wave is nothing but water. So every wave is nothing but water. So every thought is nothing but pure, the material that has gone into every thought, whether it be of I or whether it be of any other, of anything else. The material that has gone into it is consciousness only. Very difficult to comprehend because I can only take the example of water or gold or as the scriptures take. But this you have to apply it subjectively. We are given so much credence to the objective world that we are unable, incapable, we don't have that. I was going to use the word capability to see that we are pervading the world. When this statement is made, then how can I be inside everything? For that you have to become nothing first. You have to be a nobody. Only when you are nobody, then you will see that you are everybody. See? That is nivritti. Being a nobody is nivritti. No more roles. If Guru Tattva is to be known, this objectification must end. Knowledge of the truth cannot be obtained in parts through the sense, mind, intellect, equipment, but in its totality. It cannot be gained through parts. Parts means what? Now be very attentive. What you are listening and what is being spoken in parts. All thoughts are not one Is your attention on the one whole which is expressing as all the parts? Or is your attention... Swamiji, can you please repeat that what you said? I missed that. So when our attention is on the thoughts, thoughts are coming and going, parts. Our attention must be that which is beyond the parts and yet expressing through the parts. That is our true essential nature. See? The variety or the parts, the specificity, self is the non-specific principle. Objectivity or thoughts, they are specific. More the specific, we will be lost in the specificity. The more we remain non-specific, closer we are to our own essential nature. See? Gold is non-specific, ornament is specific. Water is non-specific, wave is specific. Because gold ornament is useful, looks beautiful, you can wear it on your neck or wherever, any ornament. We get lost in the form. Forms can never be continuous. Forms will always be in parts. The phone is not the laptop, laptop is not the table, table is not the book, book is not the bottle, bottle is not the handkerchief, handkerchief is not the chair I am sitting on, the chair is not the body is not the mind. See? Everything is separate, 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 separate. This is the variety we are talking about. This is the objective universe for us. All forms. And how do you know the forms? By names. If we give too much importance to forms, then names will keep coming. And there is an overload of forms in our mind. Then the short circuit happens. And then we go to sleep. I have to become fresh to interact with more forms. So you go to sleep, refreshed, next day refreshed again to take in more forms. Enough. Look at what we have. We are turned into. We are doing disservice to ourselves. Sadism is he who hurts others. Masochism is he who hurts himself. We are like that. We are hurting ourselves. Even though we are pure consciousness, we continue to remain separate as if from it because of our obsession with the forms. Our obsession with the duality. So here it is told that knowledge of the truth cannot be obtained in parts. Oh, I am a little bit closer to it. I am a little bit closer. I am 50% there. I am 99% there. Don't fool yourself. I had this experience, I had that experience. Don't get lost in all that. Experience is only at the mind. Oh, I had experience. Swamiji, it was ecstatic. My whole body was shaking. There were horripulations and this and that. Still happening at the mind level only. Don't get lost in it. These things happen. Just like disease happens, these things also happen. Just like waking dream, sleep happen, this also happens. So the knowledge of the truth cannot be obtained in parts through the sense, mind, intellect equipment. So then, if it cannot be had in parts, what about Bhur, Bhuva, Swa, Tapa, Jana, Maha, Satyam? Thrown out of the window. No validity for them. They are part of phenomena. They are part of the phenomena. They may, just like shadow exists, but you are not obsessed with your shadow. See? Sun is not obsessed with day and night. You are not obsessed with your shadow. Similarly, we should not be obsessed with the phenomena called the world. What is the world? Waking dream, deep sleep, samadhi. Don't be obsessed with it. Be. Collection of all finite is not equal to infinite. Collection of all the waves is not equal to the total waters. Collection of all the ornaments is not equal to the total gold. Exactly the same way. Collection of all the thoughts is not equal to realization. Collection of all experiences is not equal to realization. Either you are realized or you are not. Story over. This an individual will, I am telling. And when I am saying that you are not, you are still realized. Because you are that Shuddha Chaitanya. Just not knowing it, that's all. Because you are living at the mind phenomenal level. This total vision where the attention is on the Shuddha Chaitanya, which is manifesting as knower known but is beyond the reach of both, is the bliss of being. See, what is this? Ananda Swarup, Atmanand, Paramanand. That's why these names are given. So that we stop every now and then, we stop and we contemplate that are we the son who was born? Are we the student? Are we the husband or the wife? We go through initiation, then our identity is changed. So the previous name was given by the parents. This name is given by the Guru Maharaj. That name kept the person entangled with the parents and the family and the extended family. Just like if you get a promotion in the job, that position keeps you entangled in the role that you have to play. Then the arrogance comes. I am the manager. I've got 40 people working under me. Promotion. Are we like that? Or here, where it says that Shuddha Chaitanya, which is manifesting as knower and known, but is beyond the reach of both, the bliss of being. So when we are given the name of this in initiation, Paramananda, Swami, Swami, I am, infinite bliss, Atmananda, bliss of Atman, Chidananda, bliss of consciousness, bliss of experience, Anubhavananda. So immediately you start. Every now and then, initially you may get distracted. Just yesterday I saw, just like that I went onto my Facebook page. I never go there. But I saw one of my old friends from Varanasi, Pujya Sant, Pujya Sant Shri 1008, 1008, Doctor, Dr. Doctor, so and so Ananda. So that arrogance of being a doctorate, having done the doctorate, it hasn't gone out of the system yet. Initiation is done, but the past is still being carried. Dr. Swami, Dr. Swami. Okay? You want people to know that you are a doctor. You have done the PhD. You have done a doctorate. It's an ego trip. Then that initiation has no meaning. Swami Shivanandaji was a doctor. Did he ever write Pujya Shri Dr. Swami Shivananda? Never. See? So this Shuddha Chaitanya, it itself is manifesting as Aham Idam. It itself is expressing as the knower and the known. Knower is the Aham, I. The known is the object, the Idam. But this Shuddha Chaitanya, this pure consciousness, is beyond both of them. I've already mentioned that quite a few times. And when you recognize that you are beyond the phenomena, that is, you are the one who is beyond the mind, yet in and through the mind, then the bliss of being, then there is uncaused bliss. Then the bliss is not because you got the pakoda. The bliss is not because you had a wonderful sleep. Then the bliss is not because you had a wonderful chai in the morning. Then it is uncaused bliss. That is our essential nature. A bliss which is not an opponent to misery is effortless and spontaneous. And which bliss will be not contrary to misery? It will be the uncaused bliss. That joy which is caused is because of something will always result in misery. How can you say that? Try today. If in breakfast you are having dosa, very, very nice. Hot dosas I got. If it is giving you the joy, keep eating, don't stop. You should not stop. First one you will enjoy, second one you will enjoy, third one you will say, I think I'll take one more and that's it. Then the fourth one will come. After that, someone forces you, say, nahi yaar, bahut ho gaya. I'm feeling uncomfortable. But out of the pressure, you take it. How can you say no to your wife? Then she thinks that you want it, you are really enjoying it, so she makes one more for you. And if you eat the fifth one or the sixth one, you are ready to vomit, become miserable. So the joy that you had with the first dosa is no longer existing on account of dosa. So joy was not in the dosa. So joy is not in the object. So, but that is how a common man lives in this world. Thinks the joy I am happy because of my husband. I am happy because of my wife. I am happy because of my uh, well groomed sanskaric children. I am happy because I got a house. I am happy because of this, because of that, because of this. It always there is a cause. But your experience shows you that in deep sleep there is no cause, there is no object, and you are the most blissful in sleep without any interaction with an object. So there goes your theory that objects are necessary to experience joy. Even more encompassing, homogeneous bliss is that which is uncaused, that is beyond the three states, and yet illuminating the three states, yet expressing through the three states, because three states cannot be outside the the being, because being is all inclusive. Being is all that there is. Being is infinite. How can the phenomena of waking, dream and deep sleep be outside the being? It's not possible. It cannot be outside the pure consciousness. But rather than become the waker, become the dreamer, become the sleeper, take the position like the sun. Sun's example is also very limited. But it gives us an angle of approach, that's all. So, a bliss which is not an opponent to misery, so not an opponent, don't take opposite position. Meaning, don't create likes and dislikes, don't create what you call, don't give value and attention to any object. ठीक है सब कुछ है. So how do you move in this world? You move through this world with indifference, with dispassion. You move in this world. Then how will I function? You function with inspiration. See, you function with inspiration, you function with joy, but with dispassion. Creating no likes and dislikes. Because we have to use words, so I am giving you, we are speaking in this manner. Because Jnaneshwar Maharaj has to use words, so he is that which cannot be spoken about, he has written so much. That which cannot be spoken about, we are giving lecture after lecture after lecture after lecture. You have to catch the essence in spite of the words. Approaching to the conclusion of the chapter, right? Concluding, okay. ऐसे करणी या वीण स्वयं भजे निवृत्तिपण तयाचे श्रीचरण वंदिले ऐसे. In this way, the nivritti, the non-involvement, the withdrawal, being not associated with any act or deed, is self-effulgent. I salute his divine feet by being one with them. See how beautiful. See, ego, what is ego? Doer, karta, bhokta. Don't be a karta. Karta is specific. Akarta is non-specific. Bhokta is specific. Specific is individuality. Abhokta is non-specific. So who is Nivrittinath? He is neither the Karta nor the Bhokta. How is he that? He does not get involved with the phenomena. He is not associated with any act or deed. He is not associated. Acts are happening. Activity happens at the equipment level of its own accord. Is the sun making the day come and the day go? And the night come and the night go? Is the sun making the sunrise and sunset happen? It's a phenomena. Same way, the waking, dream, sleep, it's a phenomena. Same way, the aham idam is a phenomena. Eruption or non-eruption of thoughts is phenomena. Understanding, non-understanding is a phenomena. Hunger, thirst, comfort, discomfort, likes, dislikes, joys, sorrows, praise, insult, everything is phenomena. Birth, death, phenomena. The self is not making it happen. But without self, it will not happen. Sun is not making it happen, but without sun, the day and night will not happen. So take that position. See? In this way, he who is without a sense of doership, who is not involved either in participation or in withdrawal. How do you not get involved in participation or withdrawal? Accept everything, reject nothing, retain nothing. That is the rule. Accept everything, reject nothing, retain nothing. The mirror accepts everything, rejects nothing, but it does not retain an impression of whatever it is reflecting. Are we like that? In this way, he who is without a sense of doership, who is not involved either in participation or in withdrawal, who is naturally and totally withdrawn, is like the ocean withdrawn from the wave in spite of supporting the birth, existence and subsistence of every wave. This is eternally growing on. So the waters, without the waters, the creation, maintenance and destruction of the wave will not be possible. Without the sun, the creation of day and night will not be possible. Day and night are phenomena. Creation, maintenance and destruction of waves is a phenomena. Waking, dream, deep sleep, creation of waking, creation of dream, creation of sleep and the destruction thereof of all the three is a phenomena. Appearance of thoughts and disappearance of thoughts from your mind, phenomena. You have got nothing to do with it. It's happening. Let it happen. Don't give it value. Don't give it importance. Then what should I? Again the question comes. Then what should I do? Again you want to do something. Doing means becoming a doer. Don't do anything. Just be. But still be something. No, nothing. Just be. That you have to find out how. Again the question comes how. See, this is how we are so addicted to doing. How means then I have to do something. And we are telling here you have to stop doing everything. Recognize that you are the undisturbed, unchanging, ever constant, illuminating, self-knowing, self-existing principle. What can you do to know that? What can water do? What can the wave do in order to know water? As long as it is doing something, it has got a personality called I am a wave. And as long as it is a wave, even though the water is closer than the closest to the wave, it is its own being. but it is not able to recognize because it has taken a position which is contrary to the infinite waters. It has made itself specific. It has accepted the form as its reality. That's why it's called a wave. That's why we are calling ourselves a human being, this body. I mean, what is our truth? We are the non-specific one. See how simple it is if you just coolly contemplate on it. So, and this phenomena is going on forever and ever and ever. It is happening at the micro level, it is happening at the macro level. Even the gods have to come and go. At the end of the Kalpa, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, all of them will merge back into their source. They cannot continue. Just like all the roles that you are playing, they all merge back into their source when you go to sleep. The creator, maintainer and destroyer, they will also go back to their source at the totality level. See? How long will this go? It will continue. How you are worried about it? How long will the day and night go on? Let it go on. Why are you affected? You are affected only because you are giving importance. You are giving importance to the phenomena because you don't want to be the Shuddha Chaitanya. You don't want to be the permanent principle. What's life without thoda mirch masala? Mirch masala means objectivity. Won't it get boring? Then continue. But don't complain. I salute the most auspicious feat of the Sadguru, he who is glorified as Nivrittinatha. How? By dissolving my individuality in his grace. It was already stated that when the Shishya approaches the Guru, the Shishya disappears. When the seeker approaches the infinite essence, the infinite principle, the seeker disappears. When the mind contemplates on the self, the mind disappears. That is called samadhi. See? So, same way. And this is your principle. Seeker has a desire to realize. A hungry person has a desire for food. When he approaches the altar of the food, takes the food, surrenders itself to it, becomes one with it, hunger disappears. The hungry person disappears. Same way, the Shishya disappears. Same way, the waker disappears. If done consciously, it is happening, but you have to be conscious of it. And how we are bringing that awareness? By approaching the Guru Tattva. So the Guru Tattva, that is our essential nature, approach it consciously. Approaching it consciously means allowing the phenomena of the words to go through the mind so that they provide a pointer, but not losing the plot that I am the mind. Not losing the plot that without thought I cannot be. See? And a point will come where the recognition happens by grace. And once the recognition happens, it can happen anywhere. Like yesterday, someone called me. He says, Swamiji, I was driving and he called during the lecture. I had to stop it. I had to start all over again. He called me in the night, 11 o'clock. He said, Swamiji, I was driving and I had a very out of the ordinary experience. While driving, my whole body started shaking. I was feeling the energy going in and through the body. Then I parked my car because I could not keep, I was afraid that I will have an accident. So I stopped. What is this going on? It was both scary and what do you call, esoteric at the same time, ecstatic at the same time. See, he is doing sadhana, a young fellow, 22, 23-year-old, going through this experience. These things will happen. Only one thing I told, let it happen. But if it doesn't happen, don't be disturbed, because that is not your goal. Then the example I gave him, that you go to a cow for what? For the cow dung or the milk? We go to the cow for the cow dung. Sorry. We go to the cow for milk and you get cow dung as bonus. Similarly, we are seeking experiences, powers, esoteric, mystical experiences, or are we seeking the divine? When we seek the divine, all these siddhis and all these mystical experiences of hearing the sounds, Om, great Mahatmas, gods coming, all this is cow dung. Cow dung is also useful. It keeps mosquitoes away. Huh? It can be used as fuel. But what will nourish you? Well, milk will nourish you. So what will nourish us? Contemplation, being, the pure consciousness, that will nourish us. And in contemplation of that pure consciousness, the seeker will vanish out of existence as a seeker, because he was never there in the first place. There was only pure consciousness. See? And that will be the best salutation, where the seeker loses his identity as a seeker. The Shishya loses his identity as a Shishya because he has merged in the Guru. The river loses its identity as an independent phenomena. It merges into the source, the ocean. Now you cannot separate it once it has merged into it. See? So I salute the most auspicious feet of the Sadguru, he who is glorified as Nivrittinatha. How? By dissolving my individuality in his grace. And thus Sant Jnaneshwar Maharaj introduces the next chapter in this concluding OV. And what is the next chapter is about the Vaikhari Madhyama Pashyanti Para. That is the Vacharna Parihara. That how through having first talked about the Shiva Shakti Samavesh, that because we need the grace of the Lord, so we accept everything, and then that itself is the Guru in our life. So Shiva is not other than the Guru Maharaj. So Paramashiva alone is Shiva and Shakti. That Paramashiva alone is the Guru and Shishya. So we are trying to see the common thread. We are not trying to see the variety. We are seeing the common thread in and through all that. That same Paramashiva is Shiva Shakti. That same Paramashiva is Guru Shishya. That same Paramashiva is the Atma and the mind. And keep going. That same Paramashiva is the husband and wife. That same Paramashiva is the consciousness and matter, Ishwara and Prakriti. So, how it is that same one without a second principle alone is expressing as the Guru and the Shishya. Now, having invoked the grace of the Lord, having invoked the grace of the Guru and understand it in the right manner, that it is not separate than the pure consciousness that we are. Now the application side will be talked about in the next chapter. We'll just read it and look at it in our next class. Ata jnana deva mhane Shri Guru praname yene Fedili vacharune Chauhi vachansi. Jnanadev says, in this way the debt of all the four speeches are duly paid by offering salutations to Sri Nivrittinath, the Guru Maharaj. What it is, how he is using the four speeches, Vaikhari, Madhyama, Pashyanti, Para. From gross to subtle, to causal, to transcendental. How these four speeches he has used to offer salutations to his Guru Maharaj, we will look at it in our next class. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sit in silence for a few moments. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Swamiji.
Hari Om, Hari Om.